Hey friends, welcome back to So Calm Shop. So I've been playing around with how to get this camera situated, and I currently have it on my kid's music stand. So let's see. So one of the ideas I've been having lately is for people who I really want. Okay. What I really want is for people to have access to creativity and creation and beauty and like the therapeutic aspects of sewing and art in general without having to be like a billionaire and having a lot of fancy materials and sewing stuff and like a whole lot of time. So, the idea in this video is what if you don't have any sewing materials and you don't have really any time? So, we're going to take 10 minutes to see if we can do something. So, here's the truth to sew, you technically do need a needle and thread. You don't necessarily need scissors. You can rip thread with your teeth. But so I did some research, and these little like this size. See this? It's like, where am I on the camera? Okay, these little size things often come in what's called a sewing kit. And I went to Target, and they have sewing kits. It's like in the home improvement section. They usually come with like maybe four of these in like a small little container like these with like a few needles and um, I don't know, like maybe a button or two. Okay, so let's just say you do need to go to Walmart or um, Target or probably even like Home Depot, anything like that, and get a little bit of thread and a needle. Now, you probably do have a button or two from like a Coach laying around. So I've got a little buttons here. And you don't need material. You probably do have like a t-shirt or a towel or something that you feel like you could do a little sewing on. But let's say you're like terrified of sewing and you don't know anything about sewing and you don't want to ruin anything that you have. Okay? So, we all have these magical mystical socks which somehow lose their pair. And I usually keep them for a long time hoping that I will find the match. But look, I went through my drawer and here is a very little sock. My kid is 11 years old now, so this is a tiny sock. So this is obviously from a very long time ago. And this sock, I'm not going to find the pair to it. So I'm going to sew on it because it is, um, I'm just not going to find it. So I could cut this up and cut like a square. I could, probably do something cute with it. I don't know. But maybe. So find a sock. Find one of your unmatched socks that you're convinced you're not going to find and that you're willing to let go of. And maybe cut out a little square. This could even end up being used as like a patch on something, but you don't need to use it for anything. I love that ruffle, and I might want to use that ruffle on something later. So I'm just going to cut a square. Am I in the camera? Cut a square. And this way, you're literally working with trash, and you've spent, what, $3 on the sewing kit? And that sewing kit should last you ages. Okay? So I've got a little square. Yes? Yes. Okay, now I've threaded my needle and I've put a knot in the end. If you remember from other videos, you're going to loop it around your finger, roll it down. See how it twists there? And then grab it and pull it down. And that gives you a little knot. Now, it's not a perfect knot, but I'm not into perfect. Okay. So now we're going to put our needle in, and you can pull it straight through And then on the other side, you're going to go right next to it. This is a straight stitch, okay? Pull it up. Now go again. Down. Pull it through. You see that? And up. Okay? Now another way you can do this if you want it to be a little less all the way up, all the way down. So you can put it in a little bit, pinch it through. See that? And pull that through. Okay? Put it in a little bit, come back up, and pull it through. Now, once you get the hang of this, you do not have to pay too much attention. And it becomes something like an active meditation, they call it. It can be really good for those of us who just do not feel like just turn it the other way to go back across. We do not feel like we can just sit. A lot of people who have told me if they try to sit and meditate, listen to their breath or listen to a guided meditation, they almost have like a panic attack. Now, I think what that is that most of us are moving so quickly in our lives for decades that we haven't given ourselves time to feel all the fight or flight energy that comes just from the stimulation of daily life and the stressors of work and family, etc. Even a whole childhood of it being told, like, stop crying, you're fine. So there's all this energy that's in us that has not been processed. And what I think happens for those people who, when they first try to meditate, they feel like they're going to have a panic attack, or they are having a panic attack. I think that's it's like, oh, are you ready? We will come show you what we've been feeling for the past 30 years. So that's okay. That makes sense. And if you don't feel up to sitting through that, that makes sense. So if you want to just dip your toe in sort of this quietness and give yourself something that will keep you very in the here and now, because you can feel it in your hands, you know, then sewing can be a really nice way to do that, because sometimes when we are quiet enough to be exposed to our big feelings, it's like time traveling, and we all of a sudden feel like we're back in that scary place where we were when we were little and out of control. And so, or little and having no power over the situation. So having something that also connects you to right now, to remind you that, like, oh, I'm an adult, I'm sitting in a room, I have this sewing, I have, you know, maybe I still don't have a lot of control over my life, but I have more than I did when I was a child. And sometimes that can keep you a little bit more grounded, and you can start to expose yourself to some quiet in a less threatening way for your nervous system. And interestingly, when I started doing research, because I just found without knowing why that sewing was really calming to me and really made me feel like strong and secure and self-assured, I was doing some research into it. And you know, occupational therapy, if you don't, it's like a therapy that's done to help people with daily life skills, like eating and writing and those kind of things, sometimes after acute stuff, but also for kids that have difficulty with, you know, fine motor, things like that. Anyways, occupational therapy grew out of an effort after World War One to support shell-shocked soldiers. And I think shell-shocked is like the old word for PTSD, right? So they decided to teach them how to do basic sewing, and it helped them. It brought them back from their PTSD or shell shock. And OT was birthed from that effort. And if you think about it, embroidery or embellishing fabric with stitches. Just want to make sure that you're actually seeing what I'm doing here. Let's see how we are on time. Oh, we're right at 10 minutes, so I'll finish up. Anyways, embroidery or stitching is one of the most universal arts. You can look in pretty much every society in ancient civilization, and they were doing some type of stitching. And that was not typically for any sort of practical need. This is perfect. I'm at the end of my thread, so I'll go ahead and knot it. You can see these nice little stitches. But for embellishment, for beauty. And so I do believe that there's something, there's my dryer, sorry, something sort of universally human to get out of this practice that's both calming and that has something to do with how creating beauty, I really do think, is valuable in our lives and not something that we are given a lot of credit for, because in capitalism or in productivity mindset, creative beauty is not valued. Okay. Well, I hope that gave you an idea of how you could do this with very little investment, both time and financial. And let me know if you try this out and what little scrap you used and how it felt for you, and if active meditation feels like something that benefits you. Anyways, sending you all lots of love.